And welcome everybody to Between the Stripes. It is Tuesday evening, and tonight we're talking a little football. We're mixing it up a little bit, and so tonight is actually our first behind the enemy lines segment. That's right, Hoosiers. Let's lock in because tonight we're welcoming the enemy. Let's introduce him. He comes from the deep South, where women will schedule childbirth around football season. He's very swift on the football field, dodging a few linemen and occasional alligators, and also he's protecting over our country as well as my daughter. We're going to welcome in Daunte. Daunte, welcome to the program.
Oh, thank you for having me.
We're going to get to know Daunte a little bit tonight and learn a little bit about him. Daunte, growing up in Louisiana, where football is king, talk a little bit about what made you an LSU fan.
I think what made me an LSU fan is ever since I can remember, I've always had an LSU jersey on. Growing up, mom was dressing us up as babies. We had LSU straight across our chest. Uh, you know, always we've always planned our family gatherings around especially in the football season. The big games are coming on.
Sure.
You're gonna have a nice family get together, get to see all
Sure.
the aunts, the uncles, and all the cousins. So
It sounds like Indiana in reverse with basketball. Now you come from a big family as far as today's standards go. After that loss, who gets that first call?
I think who gets that first call is my my older brother Donnie. We we'll talk about it. We'll talk how the game goes, what our strengths, what our weaknesses, what we could do on the back end to go ahead and prepare for that next game. And I'll add in a little caveat to that. I think sometimes whenever we have those phone calls, my sister-in-law, she'll go ahead and jump in there too.
Hey, in Louisiana, basketball knows no sex, that's for sure. Now, as far as you're playing, you played high school football in Louisiana, and up here in Indiana, if you make a high school basketball team, that's pretty significant. I assume it's the same down there for football. What was that like playing high school football, and what position did you play?
Uh, Playing high school football, it's really a big thing. I would say probably just as hard to go ahead and get on a good team as it is like you said basketball up there in Indiana.
Sure.
Uh, I played uh I played for 12 years. I played from the age of 5 years old all the way up until 18.
Wow.
I played multiple positions in that time, mainly on the defensive side of the ball. Um, I was a little bit bigger when I was a kid, so they always stuck me as a linebacker or fullback. And then whenever I got older and I got into my high school years, I, my body didn't grow as big as you need to be for a linebacker, so
Sure.
I got moved to the free safety and or your more of your nickelback kind of area.
Well, that took a lot of speed, I'm sure. In that area, football is king, and that area has produced a lot of great football players. Ever play against any notable football players like college or even professional players down in there in your area?
I haven't myself, but my older brothers did play against Kayshawn Booty in high
Wow.
school.
Okay. Okay. That well, I mean, you can't get much bigger than that. Now you married into an IU family, obviously. What's that been like for you?
Uh, I think it's been great. I joined the family at the perfect time, just in time to go ahead and see you guys on the football side uh, explode. You guys added Kirk Signetti right when I married into the family, so you guys went from being one of the losingest programs to being winning a national championship, and you guys are getting talked about to go ahead and run it back and be back-to-back national champions.
I like the way you think, and you are a little spoiled. You went from a great football program in LSU, and you just happened. You're right. You stepped in at the right time. Let me ask you this from a football standpoint: what made IU so good in the last couple of years?
It's got to be the big man himself, Kirk Signetti, Coach Kirk. He uh he stepped in, he's able to turn y'all's program around in record time. I can't remember myself ever seeing anyone step into a program and just flip it over basically overnight. Um, from the recruiting standpoint, great mind at recruiting. He did his thing at Alabama when he was in charge of recruiting down there,
Yeah.
and he's continued that. He can also he's proven himself to be able to develop players. So that's my comments on that. It's Coach Signetti.
I think a lot of people believe that. Like I said, he is the common denominator here. Now, I think it's very appropriate here. You got your LSU jersey on tonight. I mean, wow, you broke in the enemy lines and you came in hard. I like it. How's Kiffin looking this year? And do you think that he can take this program in 1 year, given his coaching brilliance, if you will, and the talent he brings over from Ole Miss? Do you think he's able to compete for a national championship in this first year?
Um, I do think he can compete for a national championship. We got a pretty grueling schedule coming up this year in his first year. Starting out our season versus Clemson, going into um, that third game of the year, we got to go ahead and play his old team in Ole Miss. That's going to be in
Oh, I
their
did not
house.
know that.
That's going to be a very very rough game, and you get 3 weeks to prepare for that.
Sure.
Um, Ultimately, I think it's going to be if Lane Kiffin can go ahead and do kind of like Kirk Signetti and come in and get his guys to buy in. We're welcoming in 40 transfers, um, 60 new scholarship players, right? If he can come in, um, get those guys to go ahead and buy in early,
Sure.
get his. I think we're pretty set on the defensive side of the ball with a returning coordinator, and then we also have QB of the defense with Weeks going ahead and coming back. I think early we're gonna struggle offensively
Okay.
just because we have a new quarterback coming in, right? He hasn't played under
So you're
Kiffin's
saying your
scheme yet.
offense is quite a bit behind your defense as of right now.
Indeed, that's what I think. But if Kiffin can go ahead and get our offense to lock in early, um, kind of smoothing out those kinks within the first 2 weeks, and then we and go on, beat Ole Miss, be able to come back the next week, lock in, and beat Texas A&M.
That's a big task, Daunte.
Yeah, it's
Coach
a big cast, but that's SEC ball.
Coach Kiff, he's got that ability to coach that offense up as well. So I'm not concerned with the offense down there right now. Kurt Signetti brought over players from JMU, and that really it was a good transition. I mean, they were much lower talent players, if you will, but they bought into his system. He turned them into superstars and first round draft picks, if you will. Does that continuity help? Because I know that Kiffin's going to be bringing in guys from Ole Miss.
Yeah, that continuity is huge, right? Not having to get your if you can have your coaching staff already bought into a system and you bring in players that have bought into your system. um I I think whenever you get there, you get those guys to go ahead and come over. It takes off a lot of weight on the team as a whole, and you could just focus in on those new transfers that haven't worked under Kiffin to go
Sure.
ahead and buy in as well, right?
Sure, that makes sense. Well, I want to ask you this. We always say what happens on between the stripes stays on between the stripes. You're safe here, buddy. Who do you hate in the SEC? Just let me have it. Who do you hate?
Uh, Ultimately, right now I got a little bit of a disdain for Ole Miss, but that's very short sighted, right? Uh, my true hatred is going to be for Alabama, right?
Amen.
They've had our number, right? They've had our number many of times. It's always a grueling battle to go in and play them, but they've had our numbers more times than I like. Another point to that is I I feel like uh, Nick Saban kind of did us a little bit dirty in the early
Yeah.
2000s, right? Leaving
Sure.
for the NFL, and then only coaching out there for 2 years, and then coming back to college
Sure.
football.
I can see where
And
the bad blood would start running through there, Dante. I can see that.
uh,
Well, let
yeah,
me ask
there's
you
a
this.
lot.
You're kind of sidestepping into my next question. Why does Alabama hate Indiana so bad?
I think Alabama. I think Alabama hates IU because I mean, you guys gave him that little butt whooping last year, but on top of that, I think a lot of Alabama fans can see that you guys are building something special. You guys are building something unique. Kirk Signetti, I think he's the up and coming. He's the next Nick Saban, and I think if he locks in, he stays with it. I think he could really build another powerhouse right there. So I think it's a little bit of envy that
I,
they're they're not that
they're not
they're
the
not
top of
that
the ladder
future.
anymore.
They're not the top of the ladder anymore.
I
Exactly.
like it. I like the way you think, Daunte. Now, here recently, we just heard about the 5 year ruling over in Colorado where they ruled these guys' fifth year's eligibility. Anybody you got your eye on, like, man, I hope we can get this guy to come back for one more year? Any former LSU players or maybe an Ole Miss guy? Is there anybody you really want is on your wish list right now?
I think there's a I think there's one guy in particular and another guy. I think we'll see how he does this year. But I think another guy I would love to bring back in for a fifth year is Whit Weeks. He's
Yeah,
an extremely talented player. He's a massive playmaker. I think he's a smart football player. And then another guy we'll be able to see how he does this year is Prince Will. That he's an edge rusher coming in from Tennessee. He's supposed to be that guy at edge. So those are my two guys.
okay. I know IU just got Stephen Daly back. He was the guy. I don't know if you remember in last year in the playoffs, he ended up getting injured after celebrating after one of the victories. And I thought that was a bizarre way to get injured, but he was like giving people high fives and he actually tweaked the knee or something. But he's coming back and he was by far our best athlete on the team. And it wasn't even close last year, Dante. This guy's an absolute stud. So we're glad to get him back. Let me ask you one more question before we close. If Indiana and LSU were to meet up tomorrow, and there's a national championship game here on the line, who comes away the winner? And is it an offensive shootout or is it a defensive juggernaut?
Um, I think if it happened tomorrow, I think Indiana's got our number. I think more of that continuity like we've been talking about. I think I think Coach Kirk has him up there, that continuity locked in, right? Uh he has that backlog of the last couple of years of guys playing under his system, under his belt. Um I think ultimately it would be a defensive juggernaut. I think with us
Me
returning
too.
a lot of our defensive players, and y'all too. Y'all have a lot of extremely talented guys on that side of the ball.
Sure.
Um, I think the biggest thing that it would come down to, I think it would be a pretty close game, but I think what it would come down to ultimately is if it happened tomorrow, if how quickly Lane Kiffin could get that offense running and
Sure.
rolling, right? How if they're actually bought into that offensive mindset.
Sure. Well, Dante, we want to thank you for being on the program tonight. And if you look behind me here, I know this looks familiar. Dante and my daughter actually bought this for me for Christmas a couple years ago. And I tell you what, I'm just going to say it right now, Purdue, suck it, okay? We got our rivals up here as well. Well, Dante, man, thanks for being on the program today. We're going to call on you probably more in the future. We want to pick your brain a little bit because you've been at that football pinnacle. You know what it's like to play on the highest level. So we'll be looking for you in future shows. Dante, thanks for being on the show tonight, buddy.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. It was a blast.
Have a good night, brother.
Yes, sir. You as well.